Engines roared as Bright Runner pierced the asteroid belt, then cut to silence, floating above a jagged rock pulsing with strange violet veins. We'd tracked exotic matter for months, thinking only of profit. No one told us it might be sacred. We landed with drills, not prayers. I was Captain Alara Voss, and I made the call. The first cut triggered something. Energy flared under the crust, tendrils of light spiraling like veins reacting to a wound. Then a ping, alien, harmonic, broadcast across nearby systems. I stared at the comms panel as symbols I couldn't decipher screamed across our screens. We weren't alone anymore. 6 hours later, a fleet shimmered in. Not one empire, 3. The Yishivari, the Osukel, the Tanthral Dominion. All old enemies, now unified in fury. Their message was clear. We had desecrated the tomb of the first breath. I looked at my crew. We hadn't just mined a rock. We'd walked into a war. I stood before their holograms, each alien commander crackling in rage. The Osukel envoy spat translated venom. You carved into our god's heart. The Waishivari priestess simply wept. The Tanthral admiral demanded our immediate surrender. I raised my hands. We didn't know. But ignorance wasn't innocence. The storm was coming, and it would burn Earth. I ordered the Bright Runner into lockdown, transmitting a wideband distress call to human outposts. Maybe someone would come. Maybe not. We weren't a warship, just miners and engineers. And me, a captain with a dying father back home, and now the weight of alien wrath on my shoulders. Above us, the 3 fleets took formation. My navigator whispered, "They're not fighting each other." No, they were preparing to fight us. For once, the galaxy had found common ground, in hatred. And all I could think was we didn't even get a chance to explain. We just landed. We sent a drone beneath the asteroid's crust, hoping for data to barter with. What it found wasn't just minerals, it was architecture. Caverns carved in spirals, statues older than recorded time, and in the core, a still-burning engine, humming in impossible rhythms. Something had lived here. Something had ascended here. My engineer, Reyes, stared at the feed. This isn't just sacred, it's alive. We looked at each other. Our drill had pierced more than stone. We'd awakened a remnant of divinity. And it was listening. The frequency it emitted began syncing with our biometrics. The ship's lights dimmed, then pulsed with it. Suddenly, all 3 alien fleets ceased transmission. No threats, no movement, just silence. Had they detected what we had? Or were they deciding how best to erase us and reclaim the tomb? Either way, I knew we had one last shot. Something bold, something impossible. We had to offer peace, on their ground. "I propose we transform it," I said, standing before their gathered emissaries. "This tomb, this relic, deserves more than worship or war. Let's make it neutral ground. Terraform it into a shared sanctuary, a place where no empire rules." My words echoed. My crew stared, unsure if I'd gone mad or brilliant. They didn't answer right away. The Osukel regarded me as if I were dirt. The Yishivari priestess closed her eyes. The Tanthral spoke last. "You risk your species for this insult?" I nodded. "We risk everything, because peace is worth more than ore. And maybe humans see differently." The room vibrated as the core beneath the asteroid hummed louder, resonating with our ship. One by one, the alien lights dimmed, not in aggression, but awe. The priestess whispered, it heard her. They were stunned, not by power, but by hope. A species willing to build peace in a grave. The aliens departed in silence, but they didn't fire. They hovered in orbit, watching, waiting. My crew began scanning for terraforming protocols. "This asteroid's composition is unstable," Reyes warned. "Too much exotic matter. We'll need adaptive fields, nanite integration, decades of tech we don't have." I smiled. then we'll invent it. We broadcast the proposal to the Galactic Network. No reply, just echoes. And then a flicker. One species, then two, then dozens. Curiosity, outrage, disbelief, but also support. Tiny signals from scattered systems offering blueprints, resources, and advice. The impossible was now happening, and I had no idea what came next. That night, as I sat alone near the core, it pulsed gently, no longer in warning, but in rhythm. A voice, maybe in my head, maybe real, whispered, "You are not the first to try." I looked up. Then tell me how they failed. Silence. Or perhaps permission to try again. The alien fleets hovered like vultures, their warships blinking cold blue and crimson lights across the void. Every day brought a new message, warnings, ultimatums, veiled threats. I answered none. Instead, we sent out terraforming drones, delicate machines weaving through violet veins of exotic matter, planting nanite colonies like seeds. Inside the ship, my crew worked feverishly. Reyes adjusted the nanites' behavior models. I convened talks with alien diplomats aboard our small station, trying to coax them from fury to dialogue. But beneath their polished politeness lurked suspicion. They watched us like silent hunters, waiting for a single wrong move. Then the asteroid itself shifted. The humming core pulsed with irregular rhythm, lighting up new cavern chambers. A voice crackled in my mind again, a whisper, fragmentary. The first breath watches. Be worthy or perish. I knew now the sacredness was not a myth. It was judgment. Tensions cracked the fragile truce. A skirmish erupted in the orbit above. An Osu Kel fighter blew apart a Yishivari scout, triggering a cascade of alarms. I rushed to the comms, pleading for restraint. This asteroid belongs to no one, I reminded them. It can be our future, if we let it. But old grudges die hard. The three empires traded accusations and threats, their fleets bristling like predators on the hunt. I caught glances from my crew. Fear, determination, defiance. They believed in the mission, but the galaxy seemed bent on war. In a desperate move, I reached out to Tanthrel Admiral Kieran. Her cold, calculating mind was our best chance. Over encrypted channels, I laid out a bold plan. A shared governance treaty. The asteroid as neutral ground under a new alliance. She paused. Humans gamble with fire. I smiled. Then let's light the way. Terraforming progressed, but beneath the surface, something stirred. Our drones detected energy spikes deep in the asteroid's core. Reyes and I led an expedition into a newly opened cavern. There we found relics, etched pillars, alien glyphs glowing faintly, telling a story of an ancient race who had vanished, leaving behind this living tomb. As we examined the symbols, a holographic map flickered to life, displaying star charts and coordinates unknown to any empire. This was no ordinary sacred site. It was a gateway, a repository of lost knowledge and technology, the potential to shift the balance of power in the galaxy. I realized then why the empires fought so fiercely. They feared not just desecration, but losing control. I spoke into the comms. This asteroid holds the future of us all. Not just a prize, but a choice. Just as hope grew, disaster struck. One of our terraforming nanite clusters exploded radiation that flared, damaging vital systems. Sabotage. Someone wanted this project dead. Panic rippled through the crew. Reyes swore vengeance, scanning for intruders and malware. The alien fleets accused each other. Osukel pointed fingers at the Yishivari. The Tanthrel remained silent, their motives inscrutable. I gathered my officers. This war will start here if we let it. We must uncover the saboteur before the fragile peace shatters. That night, I found a message embedded deep in the asteroid's code, an encrypted warning from the vanished civilization. Trust no shadow. The breath of life carries poison. I realized the saboteur was closer than we feared, and the tomb's legacy was darker than anyone imagined. With the coalition fracturing, I made a bold move. I broadcast a live message galaxy-wide, offering the terraforming project as a joint venture, not conquest, but cooperation. This asteroid is no longer a tomb. It can be a beacon, but only if all empires lay down arms and build together. The response was immediate and volatile. Some hailed it as a miracle. Others called it naive. Earth's name became a lightning rod for debate. But I held firm. The gamble was clear: peace or annihilation. As I watched the stars beyond the viewport, the asteroid pulsed softly, alive with potential and peril. The first true battle wasn't in space. It was in the hearts of those who dared to dream of peace in a graveyard of gods. The alien commanders convened aboard a massive station orbiting the asteroid. I was invited, a sign of cautious respect or a trap. I entered the chamber, eyes scanning the cold faces, the Osu-Kel general's hawk-like glare, the HFY priestess's unreadable calm, the Tanthral admiral's calculating silence. Words were sharp, diplomacy thinner than the edge of a blade. "Why trust humans?" the Osu-Kel snarled. "You bring war, not peace." I met his gaze evenly, because no one else dared offer a way out. The priestess's voice softened. "Perhaps. Your gamble carries the weight of hope." Outside, fleets shifted restlessly. Every word here could trigger destruction. Yet, beneath the tension, a fragile thread formed, a treaty in the making, bound by mutual survival rather than trust. Back on Bright Runner, Reyes uncovered digital shadows lurking in the ship's systems, ghost codes designed to cripple the terraforming nanites. Whoever attacked us had deep access. I ordered a lockdown and summoned my security chief. "We're sitting on a powder keg," she warned. "If we don't find the saboteur, the whole project and peace will blow up." I nodded, feeling the pressure sharpen like a blade against my throat. The enemy wasn't just outside, it was inside. We initiated internal sweeps, questioning every crew member and ally. Tensions rose, whispers spread. Paranoia seeped like a virus. Trust was the rarest commodity now. The holographic map from the asteroid revealed a message buried in star coordinates, an encoded transmission looping in cycles. It spoke of the first breath as a cosmic force, a cycle of creation and destruction. The vanished civilization had tried to harness it, and failed. I gathered the alien diplomats to witness the revelation. Their reactions were mixed: fear, reverence, anger. "This place is a warning," the priestess said softly. "Not just a tomb, it's a crucible." I realized our terraforming might awaken more than life. We might trigger forces beyond understanding. But retreat meant surrender to war. We stood on a knife's edge between salvation and catastrophe. A midnight alert shattered the fragile calm. Security footage caught a shadowy figure sabotaging nanite clusters. The culprit, a Tanthral engineer, loyal to a faction that rejected peace. When confronted, he confessed. His people feared losing dominance, and this asteroid was their legacy. I faced him, heart heavy. Why destroy what could save us all? His eyes burned with desperation. Because peace built on lies is just waiting to die. I relayed the betrayal to the coalition leaders. The Tanthral admiral's expression was unreadable. Was this a rogue or a symptom of deeper division? The room chilled with uncertainty. The war inside was as real as the one looming outside. Despite betrayal, a small breakthrough emerged. The Waishavari and Osu-Kel agreed to jointly oversee the terraforming's next phase, sending delegates to coordinate with humans. It wasn't peace, but it was progress. I stood on the asteroid's surface, watching the nanites bloom like crystalline flowers. The core's hum had softened, as if sensing hope. My crew gathered around, weary but unbroken. I spoke quietly. "We're not just mining for resources. We're mining for a future." Above, alien fleets held their fire. Below, the tomb began to transform, not into a battleground, but a promise. The joint alien-human council met under flickering lights in the asteroid's hollowed chamber. Language barriers cracked slowly. Shared histories and grudges surfaced. I watched the Osukel delegates' wary respect grow for Reyes's technical expertise. The Shivari priestess taught us sacred rites linked to the asteroid's pulse, binding us in fragile ceremony. Trust was a thread woven through mutual vulnerability, and the unspoken fear that one false step would unravel everything. I realized leadership wasn't about control, but courage, to face doubt, betrayal, and hope in equal measure. Our terraforming machines hummed steadily, blending human technology with alien tradition. The tomb was becoming something new, a symbol of fractured species learning to live together. Late in the core chamber, the holographic map revealed new data patterns in the asteroid's pulse mimicking a biological rhythm. "The first breath is not just energy," Reyes said, awe-stricken. "It's a life cycle. The asteroid itself is a being." The revelation sparked heated debate. Some alien leaders balked at treating a sacred relic as a living entity to nurture. Others embraced the notion, seeing kinship. I found myself wondering if the tomb was a cradle, awaiting rebirth. The terraforming strategy shifted. Not extraction, but symbiosis. We began adapting nanites to harmonize, not disrupt. The asteroid's heartbeat synced with ours, a fragile alliance in living rock. Sabotage strikes returned, small but precise. A power relay cut, a data core corrupted. Reyes traced the signature. Not alien, but human. A faction among my crew opposed risking everything on this gamble. I confronted them, their eyes shadowed with fear and pragmatism. "We're a crew, or we're nothing," I said. "If we fracture, the war we avoid will find us anyway." Their silence was answer enough. The fractures inside mirrored the galaxy's fractures outside. The fight for the asteroid wasn't just between empires. It was inside every heart. The alien fleets kept their distance but sent envoys for covert talks. I met the Tanthral Admiral privately. Her sharp eyes softened when she spoke of the vanished race's fate. "They tried to harness the breath," she said, "but power without wisdom is ruin." We shared stories, her people's rise and fall, Earth's wars and hopes. For a moment, enemies became allies. But as we spoke, sensors picked up movement, a hidden fleet approaching fast. Someone else wanted the asteroid. The threat wasn't just from known enemies anymore. The void held secrets darker than warships. We had to be ready. As the approaching fleet emerged, a mercenary armada hungry for the asteroid's riches, our joint forces scrambled. The humans, Yishivari and Osukel, formed a brittle defense line. The Tanthral remained silent, their loyalty unclear. The first missiles streaked through space, lighting the void with deadly streaks. I ordered shields raised, engines to full power. The asteroid's pulse quickened, almost alive beneath us. This battle would test the fragile alliance and the hope we'd dared to plant. War was coming, but so was something more, something only those willing to listen to the asteroid's breath could understand. Missiles blazed through the dark like fiery comets, colliding with shimmering energy shields. The Bright Runner shook violently as explosions rippled through space. My voice cut through the chaos. "Hold the line. Protect the core." Around me, alien ships weaved between blasts, their pilots grim and determined. The mercenary fleet struck with brutal precision, but our combined forces adapted fast, pirouettes of laser fire and evasive maneuvers painting the void. Yet beneath the fury, the asteroid pulsed steadily, almost guiding our moves. Something ancient stirred beneath our feet, fighting alongside us. I caught Reyes's eye. "It's alive," he gasped. "It's helping." Hope flared as we realized this battle was more than metal and missiles. It was a testament to a living bond. The heat of battle cracked our fragile unity. Tanthrel warships held back, refusing orders to engage fully. Whispers spread. Had they sided with the mercenaries? I summoned Admiral Kieran via secure channel. Her icy voice answered, "Trust is a currency you don't have." I pressed her. "Is there a way to save this alliance?" Silence. Then, "Watch your crew. The enemy wears many faces." Back on the bridge, crewmates argued, suspicion gnawing at morale. I had to hold us together, but the cracks were deepening. The asteroid's pulse flickered. A warning, a plea, or a countdown. Suddenly, the asteroid's core surged with waves of energy radiating outward, disrupting enemy sensors and weapons. A shockwave rolled through space, toppling mercenary ships and buying precious time. The alien commanders stared in disbelief. The tomb was fighting back. Reyes shouted over alarms. "It's responding to our terraforming. It's alive and protective." Our nanites pulsed in resonance, melding technology with ancient life force. The battlefield shifted. What was a war for territory became a defense of life itself. I whispered, "This is no tomb. It's a guardian." And in that moment, hope and fear intertwined like never before. Amid the victory, chaos erupted on the Bright Runner. Security teams caught a crew faction attempting to disable our terraforming network. The saboteurs claimed the asteroid's power was too dangerous. Some things were meant to remain buried. I confronted the leader, a haunted engineer named Lyra. Her voice cracked. "We're fighting ghosts we don't understand. This peace could kill us all." I saw the fear beneath her anger, fear we all shared. The battle outside raged, but inside, trust shattered again. Could we face external enemies when we fought ourselves? I called a meeting with alien and human leaders alike, raw from battle and betrayal. "These asteroid demands unity," I said, voice steady despite the tension. "It saved us once. It will again, if we stand together." The HFY priestess stepped forward, placing a hand on the asteroid's glowing surface. "The breath chooses those who fight for more than power." One by one, others joined, alien hands touching human hands, a fragile alliance becoming something real. Outside, new threats loomed, but inside, bonds were forged in fire. The path ahead was perilous, but for the first time, I believed peace was possible, even in a tomb built on war. Deep in the asteroid's core, the holographic map expanded, revealing new layers, ancient archives encoded in light. I watched as alien linguists and human scientists worked side by side, deciphering star charts and knowledge lost for millennia. The first breath was more than energy. It was a sentient archive, a cosmic memory keeper. The HFY priestess whispered, "This knowledge could unite or destroy civilizations." I realized our terraforming was awakening not just a guardian, but a cosmic witness, one whose judgment might decide our fate. Despite fragile unity, dark plots simmered. Secret messages hinted at mercenaries regrouping, now allied with rogue factions from within our coalition. Saboteurs moved like ghosts, spreading doubt and chaos. I ordered tighter security and covert investigations. Reyes warned, "This isn't just sabotage, it's war by shadows." I felt the weight of every decision. One wrong step, and the asteroid's gift would become a curse. To stem rising fears, I proposed a summit on the asteroid's surface, a public display of cooperation. Leaders from each empire arrived, armored and wary, beneath the glowing skies of terraformed biomes. I addressed them. "This place belongs to no one faction. It belongs to all who choose peace." Some nodded, others clenched their fists. Yet beneath the tension, hope flickered. The asteroid's pulse synced with our heartbeat, a silent call for unity. Sensors detected an unknown vessel cloaked near the asteroid. It fired a single, devastating shot at a terraforming station, destroying months of progress in seconds. The blast's signature was alien, older than any known tech. A warning? A challenge? The coalition scrambled to identify the attacker. Meanwhile, the asteroid's pulse faltered as if wounded. The threat wasn't just warships or saboteurs, it was something far older and far more dangerous. The Tanthral admiral revealed a painful truth. Her people feared the asteroid's awakening would topple centuries of power and tradition. Some factions within her empire were preparing to break the treaty, ready to seize the asteroid by force. As alliances teetered, the asteroid pulsed irregularly, warning of a looming cataclysm. I knew the fragile peace we'd fought for was about to face its greatest test yet. The asteroid's pulse fell silent. Not a flicker, not a tremor. We gathered in the core chamber, watching empty projections where once stars had danced. Reyes ran diagnostics, panicked. "It's shutting down. It's hiding from us." The Yishavari priestess fell to her knees. "We've lost their trust." I gritted my teeth. The recent attack, the crumbling alliance, it was too much. The living archive had seen our intent falter, and now it was closing its gates. I stood before the gathered leaders. "We must act now, not with weapons, but with truth." At last, Earth answered our distress signal. A massive vessel, the Horizon Bastion, emerged from hyperspace, gleaming like a blade in the dark. Reinforcements, relief, and a reminder. Humanity still had power to wield. But with it came Admiral Locke, sent by Earth Command. He met me with a grim stare. "You've overstepped, Captain. This peace experiment ends now." I felt fire rise. "This is Earth's legacy, Admiral, not conquest, courage." But I saw it in his eyes. Locke had his orders, and the asteroid was about to become a pawn in a greater game. While we debated, the Tanthral splinter fleet acted. Several cruisers broke formation, descending toward the asteroid with weapons hot. Their goal was clear: seize the core and erase all trace of collaboration. I launched a blockade using Bright Runner and Osu Kel ships. "No one touches the heart," I told Locke, defying his chain of command. The first shots flared. Our fragile alliance shattered into open skirmishes. The asteroid's crust fractured where the beam struck, but it didn't scream. It awakened. Lights erupted beneath the surface. Columns of energy lanced into space. Structures hidden for centuries lifted from the crust like wings of obsidian and light. The asteroid was never just a relic. It was a ship, a guardian vessel, dormant until threatened. Its pulse returned, this time like a heartbeat during battle. Panels lit with symbols, ancient and resonant. Reyes deciphered one phrase. "Last Sanctuary Protocol engaged." This wasn't just a neutral ground. It was a failsafe. And we'd just triggered it. As the asteroid ship began to shift, alien ships scrambled to respond, some retreating, others targeting it. Locke ordered a full extraction. I refused. "This is the moment we prove we're worthy, or we walk away as thieves." Allied captains chose sides. Some stayed, others turned. Above, the ancient vessel's lights aligned, forming a massive beacon. Across the stars, it sent one message in every known tongue: "Come not to rule, but to heal, or be turned away forever." And I knew. Everything was about to change. The ancient vessel rose from the asteroid, its surface unfolding like petals of obsidian and starlight. Energy surged through its lattice structure, sending the beacon's message into every system. Empires paused. Mercenaries hesitated. Even Locke stood silent. But the asteroid wasn't done. The pulse shifted, scanning ships above, probing minds, histories, intent. A Tanthral cruiser opened fire. Instantly, it was erased, not destroyed, unwritten from space-time. Reyes stared at the data stream. It's not just defense, it's judgment. On the surface, factions erupted into chaos. Loyalists to the original peace pact clashed with extremists and opportunists. The priestess was wounded while shielding a human technician. Osu-Kel and Yishivari soldiers fought back-to-back against rogue agents. I led my crew through burning corridors of our fractured base, rallying survivors. We either rise together or fall alone. Even amid battle, the asteroid responded to us, guiding us through collapsing tunnels, opening sealed chambers, and shielding those who chose unity over conquest. It knew who we were. The core flared one last time, projecting a message galaxy-wide. The voice was not human, not alien, but vast and ancient. You have fractured the sanctuary, but peace remains possible. Choose now. The message repeated every hour. We called it the final offer. But time was running out. Fleets massed near the system. Locke demanded control. Earth takes this artifact, or Earth buries it. I stood before him, calm. You don't command the future. You only delay it. The horizon lit with incoming fleets, dozens of factions drawn by the beacon. Some came to claim, some came to destroy, a few came to protect. We called them the Second Alliance. Above, space ignited in a storm of fire and brilliance. Below, the ancient vessel raised its defenses, not to kill, but to hold the line. A shield formed around the asteroid, pulsing with will, and then, unexpectedly, it handed control to us. Standing in the core, our minds linked through the vessel's interface, I saw visions. Not of war, but of what could be. Star systems reborn. Wounded worlds healed. Empires learning peace. Reyes whispered, "It's giving us a choice. Not to rule. To become." I took a breath. Then let's build what they couldn't. As the battle above slowed, as the fleets saw what we had become, a single message pulsed outward. This is no longer a tomb. This is a beginning. And across the galaxy the breath awakened once more. When the battle ended, silence settled like snowfall across the stars. Wreckage drifted in slow orbits. Ghosts of fleets who came for power and found only judgment. The ancient vessel, no longer tomb nor warship, dimmed, folding its radiant wings into a resting state. We stood among survivors. The air was scorched but filled with something deeper, awe and fear. What comes after surviving the impossible? I asked myself a question I hadn't dared before. Can we truly rebuild? Admiral Locke stood in the asteroid's newly terraformed gardens, where glassy rock once cracked and grass now grew. He stared at the horizon, arms folded, jaw clenched. "This was never our mission," he said. "No," I replied. "It was our future. We just didn't recognize it." He handed me control of Earth's presence here. Do what they couldn't. A rare thing passed between us, not agreement, but respect. He would return to Earth. I would stay and face what came next. We summoned all surviving delegates to the surface, now sacred soil reborn. A treaty was proposed, the Accord of Breath. No empire would own the asteroid. It would be a neutral place of healing, diplomacy, and research. A sanctuary governed by all, ruled by none. There were arguments, of course, grudges, scars, but one by one each faction signed. Even the Tanthral, what remained of them, chose inclusion. They had seen the cost of defiance. Memorials rose across the asteroid, names carved in crystal from every species. Human, Yishivari, Osu-Kel, even mercenaries who'd died turning sides in their final moments. Reyes placed his brother's tag beside a Tanthral engineer's. Enemies until the end. But the same dust now. We mourned not only the loss but the ignorance that led to their end. The asteroid pulsed softly at night, no longer warning, but remembering. It kept our history now. I walk the garden paths sometimes, past the council halls and learning towers we built atop ancient stone. We still don't understand everything about the breath, but we understand enough to know it gave us a chance. Just one. Ships arrived now, not with weapons, but with questions. Science, pilgrimage, peace, And deep beneath the crust, the ancient vessel still waits, watching, listening, guarding, not us, but the choice we became. Years passed. The asteroid, now called Hale's Refuge, became more than neutral ground. It was the galaxy's first shared world. Children born here spoke 5 languages by age 10. Species once at war worked side by side on arcology towers and gravity gardens. I stayed. Not as a captain, as a witness, a caretaker of beginnings. The breath still pulsed beneath us, quiet but steady, as if it, too, was learning what peace looked like. I began keeping a journal, not for humans, but for whoever found it next. The breath listened. Sometimes it responded, showing me glimpses of other civilizations who had tried and failed, worlds that burned when peace became too heavy to carry. But ours had endured, not flawlessly, not purely, but honestly. I wrote one line over and over. We chose to stay. That was enough. One evening, an unknown ship docked at the refuge. No identification, no standard signature. The figure who stepped out bore no weapon, no translator, and yet we understood them. They weren't part of our galaxy. Not exactly. They called themselves Watchers of the Second Light, and when they touched the core, the breath pulsed brighter than I'd ever seen. They smiled. You kept the flame. Now it will grow. Before I stepped down, I recorded one final message to the galaxy. This asteroid was never just stone and matter. It was a test of who we could be. Not perfect, but possible. And in that possibility, we found purpose. I sent it out on every channel, every language. Not for glory, for remembrance. I sit now under a canopy of stars. Older, quieter, no longer needed as I once was. Children laugh in the distance. Reyes's students argue with Osukel philosophers about terraforming ethics. The wind carries pollen through the same air we once fought to protect, and beneath us, the breath still beats. Not as a weapon, not as a warning, but as a whisper. You were worthy. And so, the tomb became a sanctuary. The war never came, because peace, once chosen, never truly dies. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.